Hey y'all, Farmer Kevin here, and I'm out here with the Shake Fork oxen. We got Thor on this side, we got Odin on that side. They're our main team here at Shake Fork Community Farm, and I just wanted to hop on here and talk a little bit about a question that I often get asked, which is, what is an ox? I mean, what is an ox after all? It's probably the number one question when I bring these guys out in the public, when I start talking about that we use oxen here on the farm. And a lot of people think that oxen might be a completely different species than cattle. We all know cows, we all know cattle, but we might think that oxen are a completely different animal. It's a little confusing because there is the musk ox, which is an Arctic tundra animal, and in the same general family, but a completely different type of animal. I don't know why they're called musk oxen, but they are. But it's a little bit confusing because basically, or the fact that these guys have horns, because a lot of people don't see cattle with horns these days. Most beef cattle are polled, and a lot of dairy cattle are dehorned. And so, there's the common misconception that, only bulls have horns, or any number of different things that people can kind of see in the media. Old cartoons, the cows didn't have horns, but the bulls did have horns. But I want to talk a little bit about the definition of an ox. So I like to think about it more like a job title. So just as I'm a farmer, these guys are oxen. And the main qualifications, at least here in North America, for what defines an ox is a mature. So cattle mature at around 4 to 5 years of age, 4 years old. Male, so they are born bull calves, and they are castrated. So they've had their testicles removed in some form or another, and bovine, so the general class of cattle, and trained to work. So mature, male, castrated, bovine, that is trained to work. So all of those things are what qualifies an ox as their main occupation. So the last part of that, the trained to work, is probably the most important, because these guys, I've worked with them since they were wee little calves, and they get daily work, they get daily training, and that is really what makes an ox an ox. Because you could have a steer, which is essentially what they are. They're male cattle that are castrated, that you could take to maturity, and they'll get really large, because one of the factors of castration is that testosterone increases growth to a point, but then limits it. So an ox will actually be bigger than a bull of the same breed. So a steer that just, and you'll often see this, a big Holstein steer that's kind of a showpiece, and he gets really huge. We used to have one here locally, and it's a sight to behold, but not technically an ox in my mind, because he's not necessarily trained to do anything except for be large. And being big is important. That's why we castrate, because size does matter when you're looking at essentially bovine athletes. But size isn't everything. There's training, there's attitude, there's the desire and will, and all of these things contribute to what makes a good ox. So these guys, they go through an extensive training process. They are essentially the best of the best. I take a group of calves and I train them and I work with them, and I decide which two are going to be the best out of that group. Some of it is physical conformation, some of it is their size, a lot of it's temperament, And then the other kind of thing is the will and the desire. Because sometimes, and it's not always the case, that the biggest, strongest animal can actually pull the most. Sometimes they have to have that extra thing, that desire, that kind of dig in and really pull hard when it gets hard, that they may not have. Oh, we have a little cat coming into the here. Hi, Pumpkin. That's what the oxen are looking at right now. We got a little cat on the video. Anyways, I just wanted to sit here and put up a video and let you all know that it's okay if you think the oxen might be something that we don't actually have. But the general definition of an ox, at least here in North America, is a mature, 4 to 5 years of age, male, bull calf, castrated, bovine, cattle, usually Bos Taurus in North America, but you can also see a lot of Bos Indicus in other parts of the world, that is trained to work. So there we go. That's the standard definition of an ox.